Good afternoon. Thank you guys for coming back for our second session. I hope that you guys have been feeling well. If you can, before we jump in, can you all tell me how this past week has been for you guys as a family? Okay, that's good. So today I'd like us to focus on understanding what's been happening at home recently, especially around John's behavior and how each and everyone in the household has been responding. So from a social learning perspective, we look closely at patterns. And some of these things are what happens before a behavior, what happens after, and what kids may be learning from these moments. So it sounds like things have been pretty overwhelming, especially with so many changes happening all at once. And that is understandable. So what we're going to do before we just jump into things, we're going to slow things down just a tad bit, and we're going to look specifically and very closely at John's behaviors. So when John starts to get upset, he throws things, as you always say, has his tantrum. I want you to think very closely about what happens right before that. Interesting. So I'm hearing that this happens when the attention is not specifically on John and it is on other people, such as the twins, and also when he's being told no. So what signs do you notice that tells you that a trauma might be happening or might be coming soon? That's helpful information. And by being able to notice these signs early on, it gives us the opportunity to help us intervene sooner rather than later. Now, I want to look at what happens after John is having these tantrums. So what happened right after John throws things or he starts yelling? Okay, so it sounds like Jill, you immediately step in very quickly after John is having his tantrum. And John, he gets a lot of attention in that moment. Okay. From a social learning perspective, children often repeat behaviors that brings attention or even relief, and even if the attention is negative. So after things have calmed down, what usually happens next? Okay, so that tells them that the behavior may be unintentionally reinforced, even though everyone is trying their best. So we're going to shift just a tad bit. I want to talk a little bit about how you two respond as a system. And also, when I say system, think of how you two respond as a parents, because you guys are a system, you are working together. So how do the two of you usually respond when John is acting out? And then is your response similar to each other, or are your responses different than one another? Okay, so I'm hearing that you guys are not always on the same page when you are responding to John's behavior or when you guys are responding to him in those moments. So it's important to know that children learn and watch, and they also learn a lot when they are watching how adults are responding to those moments. So when those responses are inconsistent, it can make behaviors last longer because the child isn't sure what to expect from either parent. So I want you guys to think about, how do you think John experiences those differences between you all responses? So that does give us important insight into what he may be learning based off of how you all are responding differently instead of on the same page, and also how you guys are responding differently in those moments. So we're going to switch gears for a minute. So I also like to talk about Jesse for a moment. So what does Jesse usually do when things feel chaotic or stressful at home? Okay, so it sounds like she's stepping into that parental role when she is helping with the twins and also when she tries to calm things down. So from a learning standpoint, Jesse may be learning that taking on adult responsibilities is how to keep the peace in the family. While that is coming from a caring place, it also can be a lot for a child at her age. Now I want us to shift towards thinking about change. So if John could learn a different way to get attention or express his frustration, what would you two like that to look like? Okay, so using words, asking for help, and calming his body are all skills that we can teach and also reinforce. So our goal is going to be to help John learn some new skills and also new behaviors while still supporting you both in responding consistently as a unit so that these new behaviors are more likely to stick. And when we say behaviors, we're going to talk about those new positive behaviors. So that way, if he sees you guys working as a unit and working together, these new behaviors are more likely to stick and he can learn from them as well and still use these inside the home and also outside of the home, such as in the school setting. So today we started identifying patterns, what happens before and after behaviors, and how responses can help and how responses can shape what kids learn. So in our next session, we are going to be focused on building specific strategies that you guys can use in the home, such as strengthening your consistency and communication between you all as parents, and also making sure that each child's role in the family feels healthy and supportive. I just want to thank you guys for being open today, and this is a really strong starting point.